Illinois 1/3 through 5th ED classroom. We are located on the north end of Springfield, Illinois. Each day, we strive to feed our students with academic supports and social and emotional connections, as well as build strong, healthy relationships. However, we cannot do all of this on an empty stomach. I am so excited to be able to introduce Governor Pritzker, who also acknowledges the needs of our children and the food disparities that they may face over the summer. He has initiated a plan to fill this void that some of our students and families may be facing. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Governor Pritzker. And as he comes forward, I'm going to present him with a picnic blanket from Enos Elementary School.
Thank you.
We would like for him to make the most of the summer, knowing that students will be fed.
Thank you very much. Terrific. Bearing gifts, too. Thank you so much. Thank you to Enos Elementary, to all of you for being here this morning. It really is an exciting day. Good morning to all of you. Principal Johnson, you run a terrific operation. The kids here are so lucky to have you, and thank you for the very warm welcome. I'm honored to be here with so many incredible champions in the fight against child hunger. Deputy Undersecretary Stacy Dean of the U.S. Department of Agriculture is here. Secretary Dulce Quintero of the Department of Human Services, Superintendent Tony Sanders from the Illinois State Board of Education, Kate Mayer, the Executive Director of the Greater Chicago Food Depository, Senator Sue Rezin, and so many others, and some that are sitting here in the audience. Thank you very much for standing up for children and families across the state of Illinois. My goal from the beginning has been to make Illinois the best state in the nation to raise a family, and that begins with our children having everything they need to learn and grow. Today, I'm very proud to celebrate another major step in that pursuit as we become, well, the first state to announce and one of the first states in the nation to launch the new federal summer EBT program. This is the first new federal hunger program in almost 50 years, and Illinois is among the first cohorts of states to adopt it. The program was originally a stopgap temporary effort to address the challenges of low-income families during the pandemic. But it was so successful at addressing food insecurity, the President and Congress wisely made the program permanent. Here in Illinois, when we see a chance to address poverty and help our most vulnerable children, well, we enthusiastically embrace it. While some of the other states move slowly and step back from it, our Board of Education and our Department of Human Services are stepping up to collaborate and innovate in ways to make this program a success for as many families as possible. Through this program, eligible families across Illinois will receive $120 per child to spend on groceries throughout the summer. Research shows that summer grocery benefits like this one reduce child hunger by 33%. This will add an already robust effort to eradicate child hunger here in Illinois, add to it rather, and complement other excellent programs that we're running through the USDA. Already, in-person group meals and snacks are provided at sites across the state of Illinois where any child 18 and under can eat for free. And in certain rural areas, families are eligible to pick up meals or have them delivered. With summer EBT, eligible families will now receive that additional $120 to ensure nutritious meals are available at home, too. We'll be working alongside our partners here today to reach as many eligible people as possible and encourage them to enroll in these programs to make sure that no family in Illinois is without quality food options in the summer months. As many of you already know, addressing child hunger has been an issue near and dear to my heart for quite some time. Prior to taking office, I helped expand the school breakfast program in Illinois for tens of thousands of children. As governor, I've worked to reduce food insecurity, working with food depositories and food pantries and our growers across the state to make more fresh foods available to those most in need. Because we are doing more than just providing meals, we are unlocking pathways to a better life. Food insecurity is absolutely detrimental to a child's development. It impacts academic performance, social function, and mental and physical health. Through this program and all of our efforts, we are giving children the foundation they deserve to lead a healthy and fulfilling life. To that end, I want to thank especially the Illinois Commission to End Hunger, co-chaired by my Deputy Governor of Health and Human Services, Grace Ho, and Kate Mayer, which will be shifting their focus in the coming months to fighting specifically child hunger. Many of the commission members who will drive that work are with us today, and I look forward to working together to turn their recommendations into action. To all of our partners that are here, from the federal government to our essential local food banks, thank you. Thank you for joining us to celebrate this historic moment and for your tireless dedication to ending hunger. I am deeply proud to stand alongside you today and every day as we make this vision of a state free from hunger a reality. So with that, it is my great honor to turn the podium over to our partner at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Deputy Undersecretary Stacy Dean.
Thank you so much, Governor. Thank you for having me here today and for your incredible leadership. It's just another example of how Governor Pritzker prioritizes the needs of children throughout his administration. Well, summer, we can feel it, a little bit of heat in this cafeteria. Summer is almost here for us. And summer, for so many of us, is just a magical time. The weather turns. We can do all these wonderful things that we can't do in other parts of the year, go to the parks, pool, barbecue, picnics with our families. And for many of us, it's just a time that we look forward to. But for some families, summer can be a time of stress. And those are families whose children, while they're in school, are able to participate in the school meals program and receive nutritious, healthy breakfasts and lunches, sometimes snacks, for either free of charge or at a reduced price. Those families can worry about how they're going to be able to afford to put healthy, nutritious foods on the table for their kids during the summer months when the meals aren't available. And for some families and communities who are particularly hard hit, summer's a time when they're actually at risk of increased child hunger. But fortunately, with President Biden's leadership, we have a historic opportunity to combat summer hunger through an enhanced suite of summer nutrition programs for kids, which USDA is calling the SUN programs, and you see featured over here in this banner. And we're just so delighted to be here and a part of Illinois' announcement today about the summer EBT program. As the governor mentioned, summer EBT is evidence-based, meaning we know it works. It's been tested, piloted, and gone through rigorous research to show that it reduces hunger and increases the intake of nutritious foods that the kids who participate. We owe it to our children to set them up with the tools that they need to thrive. And that's why President Biden has prioritized improving food and nutrition access for millions of children and their families nationwide. In 2022, the president hosted the historic White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health, where he called on America to end hunger in this country by 2030. And summer EBT is one of many important critical tools that will help us achieve that goal. We're just so pleased to see the strong progress across the whole country. Illinois is joined by many other states that will be adopting summer EBT in its inaugural year this year. The vast majority of states are opting in, plus every federal territory and DC. Now, because this effort is all about feeding kids, I had no doubt that Illinois would take up the option under the governor's leadership and in this incredible lineup of community leaders from the state and local level. But knowing that this is the right thing to do does not mean it's been an easy task. standing up a new program that will serve over 1 million children in this state in a short number of months takes extraordinary work. I really do want to give an incredible shout out to the leadership and also the career civil servants across the Illinois Department of Human Services and Department of Education and local leaders that have done so much to make what seemed like an impossible task possible. The reward is worth the work. And they know that, and we were just talking about it beforehand. But I really do think they need to be celebrated for everything they've done. This is true service, true service to their community, and it is truly government in action to serve its people and its children. So that is a wonderful segue to turn things over to one of those incredible leaders, Secretary Quintero. Thank you for having me today, and can't wait to hear from them.
Buenos dias, good morning everyone. Well, they told me not to mess with the mic and here I am. Hello, thank you. Thank you so much, Deputy Undersecretary Stacy Dean, for your welcome. I really appreciate it. Thank you, USDA, for helping Illinois become one of the first states to launch summer EBT. Woo! Again, I'm Dulce Quintero, Secretary Designate for the Illinois Department of Human Services. Thank you, Enos Elementary, for hosting us. Go Eagles! Governor Pritzker, thank you for your commitment to keeping Illinois communities healthy. Greater Chicago Food Depository, your partnership as co-chair of the Illinois Commission to End Hunger is deeply appreciated. The commission is composed of stakeholders across the state. Our next report will focus specifically on addressing child hunger. This action plan will make meaningful progress against hunger by better connecting people to food programs and promoting equitable access to food. Superintendent Sanders and the entire team at ISB, it's an honor to serve alongside by you. Together with all our partners here today, we can not only provide access to meals for those in need, we can end the root causes of hunger entirely. This is personal to me. I grew up receiving free lunches in school, and I wasn't alone. Many of my classmates and friends rely on free or reduced price school meals, but that meant summer could be a time of food insecurity, a time of hunger and anxiety. Here in Illinois, we know that summer should be a time of fun and relaxation for all children. Most of those eligible for summer EBT will not need to apply to receive benefits. Later in June, IDHS will be ready to verify whether a family is eligible. In the meantime, IDHS has multiple benefits for those who need help getting healthy food. Those who need to apply for food, financial or Medicaid assistance can visit the following website, abe.illinois.gov. After all, nutrition and health are fundamental rights. So let's all have a great summer with access to healthy snacks. And now I'm going to try to summarize in Spanish. Hoy presentamos EBT de Verano, un programa nuevo destinado a garantizar que ningún niño pase hambre durante este tiempo de receso escolar. La participación de Illinois en este programa refleja nuestra creencia que todos los niños merecen tener acceso a alimentos saludables durante los meses de verano. Cada niño elegible recibirá un beneficio de $120 para apoyar sus necesidades nutricionales durante los meses de verano. La verificación de elegibilidad para este programa especial EBT no estará disponible hasta junio, pero hay opciones adicionales para que las familias ayuden a los niños a satisfacer sus necesidades nutricionales. Las familias deben visitar www.wegotyouillinois.org para obtener la información más actualizada sobre las opciones de alimentos durante el verano. Asegúrese que sus niños estén bien alimentados durante este tiempo. Thank you all so much for your time today. It's now my honor to introduce the Illinois State Board of Education Superintendent Tony Sanders.
Good morning. Thank you, Secretary Quintero. It's a special honor to stand before you today, and especially to stand alongside this governor and this distinguished group here today. The Illinois State Board of Education recognizes that our schools play a pivotal role in ending hunger in Illinois. A staggering half of Illinois students qualify for free or reduced price meals. For many students, the meals that they receive at school might be their most substantial and reliable source of nutrition. This means that when the final school bell rings and the summer begins here shortly, we know that there's a heightened risk of childhood hunger. This is where Sunbucks, or the summer EBT, steps in. It's not merely a program, it's a lifeline for families in need. This vital support will empower families to purchase nutritious food during the summer months. This is not just about filling stomachs, it's also about nourishing the future of our state. No child should ever face hunger. And with Sunbucks, Illinois state agencies are ensuring families get every dollar possible to feed their children so they can show up in fall this upcoming fall ready to learn. I am proud that Illinois is taking a proactive step and leading the way in implementing this critical program. As champions for the state's children, I urge all of you to spread the word far and wide. We're working together to let every eligible family know that Sunbucks will be available statewide. The Illinois State Board of Education will also carry out this critical mission this summer of administering the Summer Food Service Program, which annually provides more than 3 million meals to children during the summer months through our participating school districts, community organizations, churches, camps, park districts, and other sponsors. Families can call the Summer Meals Hotline at 1-800-359-2163, or they can text FOOD to 304-304, or visit summermealsillinois.org to find nearby sites. Together, we can ensure that every child has the opportunity to thrive regardless of the season. Thank you for being here today and for sharing the unwavering belief that together we can build a future in which every child goes to sleep with a full stomach. It's my honor now to introduce Senator Rezin.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership to end childhood hunger. Welcome, Deputy Undersecretary Dean. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. Thank you to all of my colleagues behind me as well, and thank you to Enos Elementary for hosting us here today. I'm State Senator Sue Rezin. I represent the 38th Senate District, which includes Bureau County, DeKalb, Kendall, Grundy, LaSalle, and Will counties. I'm thrilled to be here today to discuss Illinois' participation in the summer EBT program for our Illinois children. I think it's safe to say that everyone believes that no child should go hungry when we have the means to prevent it with federal funding opportunities. As we approach the summer, we recognize the critical role that nutritious meals plays in the lives of our children. For many families, the end of the school year can bring added financial strain, making it difficult to provide consistent, healthy meals, things that we take for granted. That's where this program comes in. This program empowers families by providing them with additional resources to purchase food for the summer months. It ensures that our children have access to nutrition that they need to thrive in the summer, regardless of their family's economic situation. I'm proud to see Illinois take advantage of this opportunity provided to us by the federal government and commit to supporting the well-being of our children. Together, we can continue to strive to ensure that every child in Illinois has access to nutritious meals that they deserve. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Kate Mayer.
Thank you, Senator. Wow, it is so great to be here with all of you this morning. I'm Kate Mayer. I have a couple of different hats that I wear. One of my jobs is I lead the Greater Chicago Food Depository, which is the food bank that serves Cook County, Illinois. And there is a shout out, Pam Molitoris, who leads the amazing Central Illinois Food Bank, is standing there. But there are 8 extraordinary food banks that serve every one of Illinois' 102 counties. I also have the privilege, along with Deputy Governor Ho, of serving as the co-chair of the Illinois Commission to End Hunger. For those of you who don't know, the Commission is a public-private partnership comprised of state agencies, community leaders, shout out, because I know that we have some Commission members here as well, who have come together to work to achieve the bold goal of eliminating hunger in the great state of Illinois. Last fall, Governor Pritzker assembled the commission at Liberty Elementary School in Cicero, Illinois, a school not unlike the one that we are gathered at today. And he called on the commission to look deeper at the solutions to end child hunger. I want to take a moment to state the obvious. Children need healthy food to thrive. When our children have regular access to nutritious food, they perform better in school. They have better health outcomes and better lives. But the unfortunate reality is that for too many parents and children in Illinois, those parents are faced with the terrible decision of having to choose between paying rent, paying utilities, or buying food to put on the table. Since our meeting last fall, the Commission has been working hard to answer Governor Pritzker's call to do more for children and families facing hunger in Illinois. With the launch of the new summer EBT program, we saw an opportunity to lean in and help connect Illinois families to a critical new resource. We have partnered with the Illinois Department of Human Services and the Illinois State Board of Education to develop awareness materials, and if you can allow me to brag for a moment, I have one example here, amazing materials that community-based organizations are in the throes right now of distributing all across our state to ensure that every family, every child has the information that they need to be able to be connected to this critical program. The summer EBT program will help ensure approximately 1.1 million eligible children in Illinois will have access to food, something so very basic that in turn will make it possible for them to be nourished during the summer and better prepared to resume learning when classes begin in the fall. Our goal, simply, is to ensure that every single eligible family and every single child in our great state is connected to this amazing program. I want to close by saying how proud I am of Illinois. As you heard from the Undersecretary, Illinois was one of the very first states to raise its hand to offer the programs to families in 2024. And from the moment that that hand was raised, our state agencies came together to collaborate and bring forward this program thoughtfully, strategically, and quickly. I know we have more work to do. In addition to supporting a successful summer EBT program in Illinois, the Commission is developing strategies to better connect families in Illinois to other critical safety net programs, including SNAP and WIC. The stark reality is that the pandemic, followed by unprecedented levels of inflation, have left far too many families and children vulnerable. And now, more than ever, we need to work to protect and to connect to our safety net. Standing here in this fantastic gym, in this amazing school, in our great state, I am reminded that we can and we must do better. Together, I believe we can come together with our partners at the state of Illinois and with the benefit of a new federal summer EBT program to ensure that no child will ever go hungry in Illinois. Thank you very much. I want to now introduce Superintendent Gill.
Governor Pritzker and members of this amazing panel, thank you for all of your kind words today and the forward thinking that you've all had to serve our students. It is always a pride point for me to stand in front of a community conversation about helping our students in District 186. I was born and raised here, attended the schools here, have been a proud resident of the state capitol for my entire life, and I couldn't be more proud today to roll out this program, and again, so proud that Illinois has taken a bold next step. In our commitment to support the well-being of this entire community, this summer food program is absolutely vital. I want to give you some statistics for our local community. We have close to 8,500 students that will be eligible for the summer EBT program. That's a very large amount out of a 13,000 student system. We will have these strategically located throughout our community in 20 different schools that align at the same time as our extensive summer learning programs that we offer. And that means so much to families that not only will they continue their learning, but they'll be fed both breakfast and lunch each day. That's a huge burden that's lifted off of our families. When they have uncertainty about where that next meal will be, they can't learn as well. I think of our teachers that are lining the room here, and I can't say thank you enough for what you do each day to serve our students, and we hope in a part this will help your students be ready to learn and do the next great things in their lives to support our community. It is my proud honor to invite Governor Pritzker back up to the stand for any questions and answers, and welcome again to Enos Elementary and District 186. Thank you.
Happy to take questions from members of the media. Dave.
Governor, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity. And I've got a bunch of them, but I'll ask only one. Okay. And this might be better answered by somebody else or by you. You said something about a stopgap program, and when I heard that it's a stopgap program that works so well, it's continuing. And what I hear is, we thought it was a stopgap program, but the need is so great that we can't really end it. I mean, how do I reconcile those statements?
Well, again, we talked about how I would describe it as a pilot, a massive pilot program during the pandemic. Summer EBT was absolutely necessary. There were kids who just otherwise wouldn't have access to a meal, and we needed to have that program for the summer. Thank goodness the federal government made that available. It was the first time ever. It was not intended to be an ongoing program at the time, and so that's why I used the term stopgap. Now, I don't think anybody would say, though, that before the pandemic that we didn't have a child hunger problem. And so I think the recognition after the pandemic is that we needed a program like this all along, and since it worked so well during the pandemic, let's keep it going. And so I'm very pleased that we've jumped on the opportunity. We're one of the first states to do so. And again, it's not that there wasn't a need already, and it's not just the state of Illinois. This is all across the United States. Not every state has taken advantage of it, although I did hear from the Undersecretary that the slowly but surely states are catching on and doing it. But I'm very pleased that we're taking advantage of this opportunity, and that, again, that we're being proactive and our agencies have worked together to make this happen.
Governor, we've got a recent report from the Center for Budget Tax Accountability suggesting that lawmakers up their annual increase in EDF from $350 million to $550 million. Some lawmakers have suggested it's two. CPS is asking for more money, $650 million, I believe. The mayor says the city's owed $1 billion for public schools.
Welcome to budgeting in the state of Illinois. Yeah.
Right. But I won't ask you if you think there should be more funding for education, because I think I know what your answer would be. But in this budget climate, can you be moved off of that $350 million number that has been included in nearly all of the budget?
I'm the first person to want to put more dollars and effort into improving education in the state of Illinois. I literally wake up in the morning, go to bed at night, with education as the front and center issue for our state for the short term and for the long term. So I start with, when someone says to me, let's put more money into EBF, it's something I want to do. Now, of course, we could talk about other pressures that exist, like healthcare, making sure that we have proper Medicaid reimbursements, for example, the investments that we need to make in attracting business and incentivizing new jobs in the state, and so on. So we're always looking at all the competing priorities. By the way, EBF doesn't cover higher education, doesn't cover preschool or early childhood. So think about all those pressures on the budget, and then, of course, EBF. Now, we do more for education than I think we get credit for than just EBF. Everybody focuses on, well, you're only increasing education funding by $350 million. There's a lot more money that goes into education beyond that increase at 350. One example of that is that we have a teacher pipeline pilot program, $45 million a year. That's just one of many programs, but an important one where we're helping school districts attract more teachers. And that's money into education, right? So that's a long-winded way of saying that I would love to be able to put more money into EBF, and when we have the opportunity to do that, we're going to do that. It happens that this year, as I said when I gave my budget speech, is a tighter year than some other years have been during my tenure. And so this is one where, you know, we've got to make sure that we're covering other needs as well. But I don't want you to think 350 is the entire extent of the money that we're adding into education. It's really more than $500 million when you look at everything we're doing.
The latest census data continues to show the state losing population, with Baker Street, Chicago, Springfield losing population of people. Why do you think this is? What policies do you think should be reversed to turn those numbers around?
So to disabuse you and many others of a misimpression, there is, as you know, every 10 years a census that gets done. That's where people's doors get knocked on. People are filling out forms, right? And every 10 years we literally count every single person in the state. And then in every year between those 10-year periods, 2010, 2020, 2030, between those years, there's something that's relatively new in the census world called the American Community Survey, and it's more like a poll. It's more sophisticated than a poll, but it's a poll that tries to determine what the changes are year to year in population. That poll has been inaccurate for the state of Illinois for more than 10 years. How do I know this? Because they've been doing this poll during the 2010s, from 2010 to 2020, and I saw the poll data, that information, every year. And when I was running even, I said, oh my goodness, you know, if we're really losing that kind of population, it's an emergency. It's something we need to, you know, get on, jump on. What populations are we losing? How do we keep them in the state of Illinois? How do we attract others, and so on? It turns out when we actually counted people in 2020, we weren't losing hundreds of thousands of people. That was false. We counted every person, so you know that the accuracy is there. Now the question is, okay, well, if the ACS data is wrong every year and the actual count is right, and that is true, then, and by the way, in addition to the number that we originally counted, it turns out they do something called a post-enumeration survey, which basically checks the work. And the post-enumeration survey determined actually Illinois got undercounted. Even though we try to count every single person, some people are homeless and don't get counted. Some people are just hidden and hard to get to, and they didn't get counted. So what did they determine from that? Illinois gained population. We have more than 13 million people in the state of Illinois. Well, then 2021 came, and here came another ACS survey, and it showed another year of population loss reported by this survey that had been inaccurate for the 10 years earlier. That survey hasn't changed. So we've gone to the Census Bureau and told them how inaccurate this clearly is. And they believed us, and they went around and looked at the cities in the state that applied. We had a group of cities who kind of went to the Census Bureau and said, this is wrong, we're seeing more people than you are. And what did they do? They upped the numbers, the population numbers for each of those cities that were part of that application. So it's clear there's something wrong with the ACS data, and I know you guys keep reporting that we're losing population based upon that inaccurate data, but you should take what I'm saying as truth, that actually when we count people, it turns out we're gaining population.
Large influx of. How much are you considering his request, and how much are you considering additional funding for education for migrant children in addition to the $182 million?
Well, I think you've seen the budget. I mean, the budget I proposed and the budget that's being discussed in all the committees and so on. We obviously want to help our schools as much as possible. I do want you to remember that Chicago public schools actually have lost students. So there are fewer students there, even with the number of asylum seeker students that are there now, as opposed to in the last few years. So that's something that we take into account. But, the fact is we have an evidence-based funding model that's, designed to sort of smooth out the problem of focusing on the districts that are most needy. The tier 1 districts. It happens that Chicago is a tier 2 district because we put so much money into Chicago and it's done better than it's done before. It went from a tier 1 to a tier 2. That's a good thing, going from tier 1 to tier 2. But it does mean that they get less EBF dollars, or at least it's not that they get less necessarily, but they get a portion of the 350 or whatever we put into EBF. So it's important to us to make sure everybody gets educated. It's not an overwhelming number of students that are entering the school districts all across the state, not just in Chicago. And obviously we want to assist in any way we can. I think the most important thing we can do is make sure that people have food, clothing, shelter, and then, as best we can, we'll assist our schools too.
Parts of your revenue package that need to be renegotiated now with legislative pushback, or are you still sticking to the whole package?
Well, again, it's always a conversation. I put forward a budget in February. It's a proposal, and then it's up to the General Assembly to evaluate that, to ask us questions about that. If they feel like there are parts of it they either don't understand or they'd like to adjust, they want to come talk to us. We're open to that, and we've been talking to them all along about that. But I don't think there's any necessary change that needs to be made. Having said that, I know that there are various members of the General Assembly who have at times said, well, I wish that we would do this instead of that. And they have their own ideas, or they'd like to ratchet up or ratchet down a number that we have in the budget. So I don't think that there needs to be any change made, but we're always open to it. And of course, we're continuing to have those dialogues every day leading up to the end of session. Sorry, Jeremy's got his hand up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot, and then in between, you've got a lot of competing interests trying to get a piece of this budget in the next week and a half. How are you looking to balance all of that? I mean, there's a lot of money we're talking about that some of these big agencies, could be short of. So.
Well, the bulk of that work was done long before I introduced it in February. It takes about 6 months really to put the budget together. When I propose it, it isn't like we, just look at the old budget and add a little bit and there it goes. It's a whole lot of work. And I want to just remind all of you, the number one principle about my budgets has been and will always be, it has to be balanced. So whatever we end up with at the end of session this time, as all the times that I have been governor, is we've got to balance the budget. However that comes out, whether there are cuts that are made, revenue enhancement, whatever it is. And here I think we're going to end up with a balanced budget, so I feel very confident about that. Are there demands that are outside of what's in the budget? Of course there always are, and I think Ben raised the question that others would raise, which is why aren't you putting more money into EBF, or why aren't you putting more money into higher ed, and so on? And the answer is always because there's only so much to go around, and we're doing the best that we can to meet the needs of the moment that we're in. And there are vital areas to put money, and then there are less vital areas. And again, prioritizing those things every single year is part of my job, and then importantly, the 177 members of the General Assembly. I didn't ask for an $800 million. No. If you read that memo, it's a notice to our agencies to let them know that the General Assembly is considering their options and that there may be a need that the General Assembly sees to cut the budget by $800 million. And it's just a notice to all the agencies that that may happen. Yep. Thank you.